The city of Stirlingwood was my canvas, and tonight I was painting my masterpiece. They called me the Ghost, not because I was a phantom, but because my plans were so flawless, so meticulously executed, that I simply ceased to exist after the deed was done. The target, the legendary Starlight Diamond, a rock so brilliant it seemed to trap the very essence of 1,000 suns, now resting in the Stirlingwood Museum's impenetrable vault. My rival, Detective Miles Corbin, was my only worthy opponent. I respected him. He was a man who saw the world not in black and white, but in the intricate shades of gray, just like me. He was smart enough to know my plans were never about greed. It was about the challenge, the thrill of the chase, the intellectual chess game we played. Tonight, the final move was mine. I'd spent 6 months planning this. The museum's security was a work of art in itself, a symphony of lasers, motion sensors, and pressure plates. But every symphony has a sour note. I discovered it 3 months ago, a single-minute flaw in the ventilation system's thermal regulator. It was a digital ghost, a single line of code that, when manipulated correctly, would momentarily create a false positive, a heat spike that would distract their systems for exactly 47 seconds. That's all I needed. I was in position on the museum roof, a single, black-clad figure against the moonlit skyline. Below, Corbin's team was setting up a perimeter, their radios a constant static whisper. I could almost hear his voice, his calm, analytical tone, as he directed them. He knew I was coming. He just didn't know how. He was expecting a frontal assault, a smash and grab. He was looking for a ghost. I was a whisper. My fingers flew across the modified tablet, the code I'd written dancing across the screen. At 1:04 a.m., I executed the command. The thermal regulator flickered, and a single, silent alarm chirped in the security room. The guards scrambled, their attention diverted to a non-existent threat in the West Wing. 47 seconds. I rappelled down the side of the building, a silent shadow, and landed on the balcony of the vault's chamber. A single, almost invisible laser grid protected the window. I had a device for that, a small emitter that bent the light just enough to create a safe path. I slipped through. No alarms, no sirens. The diamond was there, behind a thick, reinforced glass case. This was the part where my plan diverged from theirs. They expected me to crack the case. I wasn't going to. I was going to use their own system against them. I placed a small device on the case, a tiny, nearly invisible antenna. This would broadcast a signal, a mimic of the security system's all clear signal, but with a subtle, corrupted code I'd embedded. When they ran their morning checks, it would momentarily lock the case open, just long enough for me to switch the real diamond with my flawless fake. I was about to leave, my heart pounding with a familiar mix of victory and adrenaline, when a new sound cut through the silence. A soft, measured footstep. I froze. "I knew you'd come," a calm voice said from the shadows. Corbin stepped out of the darkness, a small smile on his face. He wasn't in uniform, he was dressed in a simple suit. He held nothing but a small, unassuming flashlight. "Corbin," I said, a hint of admiration in my voice. "How?" "The thermal flaw wasn't a flaw," he said, his voice low. "It was a back door. I wrote it 3 years ago, just in case. I knew a genius like you would find it, but I also knew you'd be too arrogant to think it was a trap." My blood ran cold. The 47-second window. It hadn't been an accident. He had let me in. The all-clear signal I was broadcasting wasn't just a mimic. It was a beacon, a homing signal leading straight back to me. He hadn't been looking for a ghost on the outside. He was waiting for one on the inside. "The game is over, my friend," Corbin said, and with that, the lights flickered on, sirens blared, and the museum was flooded with police officers. I just smiled. He was right. The game was over, and for a brief, perfect moment, I felt nothing but respect for the man who had outsmarted me.